Screams echoed for the officials, for help, for anyone. The federal holding cell was dark. It reeked of stale air and despair. More than a dozen prisoners huddled around a young boy. Sarah wept over her child's frail body. She begged her son, Cody, to open his eyes. The boy's body was rigid. He convulsed and then went still. A month ago, a new administration had seized power. They swiftly arrested Secretary of Defense Arthur Howard. His entire family was imprisoned without explanation. They still did not know the charges against them. Arthur and his 3 sons discussed their situation. They could only think of one possible reason for their downfall. The previous president had no clear successor. He had considered anointing his younger brother. Arthur Howard was a man of firm principles. He had advised the president to reconsider. He argued that the nation needed stability, not a dynasty. A year later, the president fell gravely ill. He hastily appointed his brother before passing away. The new president promised to clean up Washington. Arthur was accused of political conspiracy. Federal agents had descended on their home without. The family had no time to defend themselves. Ethan held his son's cooling body. He felt a deep sorrow. He told his father that their family was finished. The president was making an example of them. There was no hope for their survival. Arthur Howard was only in his 50s. He once radiated confidence and authority. Now his face was a mask of gray defeat. He could not argue with his son's grim assessment. He had spoken too bluntly, too honestly. He never considered the deeper political consequences. Royal succession was not for outsiders to question. The old president had been merciful and let it pass. The new one was vengeful and settled old scores. Arthur knew he was not entirely innocent, but he mourned for the family he had doomed. He had shamed the Howard family's legacy of public service. That night, everyone's attention was on the sick child. No one noticed Arthur Howard in the shadows. He used his belt in a dark corner of the cell. He had taken his own life. Before he died, he wrote a message in blood. He confessed to his own political arrogance. He made his family swear an oath. Howard descendants would not enter public service for a century. The Howards were a political dynasty. Generations had served in government. Their influence in Washington was still considerable. This path was the foundation of the family's power. Arthur's final command seemed like madness, but it was a desperate act of sacrifice. A family disfavored by the president could not survive. The new president was ruthless. Only complete surrender offered a chance. The family's roots had to survive for a future return. 3 days later, an order arrived at the prison. The Howard family was stripped of their assets. They were exiled to the remote Appalachian Mountains. They would work the land as indentured laborers. Other branches of the Howard family were untouched. The president's order was specific. They would have to serve quietly and carefully now. They would be watched for any sign of disloyalty. The imprisoned Howards were loaded onto a transport van. On the day of departure, guards fitted them with restraints. Liam awoke to the cold metal of shackles on his wrists. He was utterly bewildered. One moment he was at a lavish business dinner. He felt a sudden, sharp pain in his head. Then he woke up on a cold floor. The sound of weeping filled the cramped cell. He was pulled to his feet and shackled. Liam stumbled out of the prison in a daze. His eyes had not seen the sun in weeks. The bright light was a painful, blinding glare. He squinted, slowly adjusting to the world outside. Liam looked up at the sky. It was a brilliant blue, like a polished sapphire. A guard shoved him onto the transport van. The Howard family was packed in like cattle. 2 vans held them all. Sarah pulled Liam close. She asked if his head still hurt. She tried to warm him with her own body. Liam barely noticed her. He stared out the window in disbelief. The van drove through the bustling streets of Washington, D.C. Guards shouted at curious onlookers to move back. They passed sleek black cars. The drivers averted their eyes and sped away. Liam thought about stories of reincarnation. Others were reborn into wealth and power. He had become a prisoner. He wondered if this was punishment for his past life. He had lived a life of unchecked indulgence. Liam sighed with a profound sense of melancholy. That evening, the van stopped outside the city. They parked at a rundown roadside motel for the night. The journey had been long and exhausting. The Howards were parched and starving. The heat of the day had been relentless. 2 family members had already fallen ill. One was Liam's aunt, Maria. The other was his young cousin, Cody. The guards showed no intention of letting them out. They locked the van in the back lot. Then they went inside to eat and drink. A long time passed. The guards did not return. Liam wondered about their lax security. He quickly realized escape was a fantasy. They were all shackled. The van was securely locked. And who would risk their life to rescue them? Liam had examined his new body carefully. The boy was around 11 or 12 years old. He was thin from his time in the prison, but his frame was long and his skin was smooth. He had clearly been well cared for before. Liam tried to lift his hands. The heavy shackles made the movement difficult. He was desperately thirsty and hungry. One could survive hunger for a day or 2. Dehydration would kill them long before they reached their destination. The shackles were made for adults. They were loose on a child's slender wrists. Liam easily slipped his hands free. He squeezed through the widest gap in the van's partition. His mother, Sarah, gasped in alarm. She asked him how he got out. The others finally noticed Liam standing outside. Liam quickly motioned for them to be quiet. He explained that he was small enough to escape the cuffs. He told them to wait while he found them some water. Ethan whispered for his son to be careful. Liam had no time to waste on parental S. He quickly found his way to the motel's back kitchen. The motel was dark and quiet. To avoid waking anyone, Liam checked the guest rooms. He made sure no one was near the kitchen. Then he slipped inside. The motel kitchen was a separate, small building. Luckily, the door was unlocked. Liam crept inside and gently closed it. The kitchen held 2 large pots and a water basin. Most of the food was locked away. Liam first drank deeply from the water basin. He had never tasted anything so sweet. After quenching his thirst, he looked for food. He searched the large pots, but they were empty. Liam did not give up. He rummaged through cabinets and drawers. He finally found a few stale crackers. They had a faint, musty smell. Just the day before, he had eaten a multi-course meal. Lobster, abalone, and exotic game had been served. Liam's stomach churned with hunger pains. He knew this was his penance. He had lived a wild and reckless life. Now he was starting over in hard mode. But he would not give up. That was not his nature. Liam ate 1 cracker, feeling a little better. He wrapped the remaining food in his shirt. He had spotted a small garden behind the kitchen. He thought he had seen cucumbers growing there. Liam ate 1 cucumber and picked several more. He also took a few leaves from each vegetable plant. He bundled everything in his shirt and returned. The family was overjoyed. They had eaten little in the prison. The day's journey had exhausted them. They were weak with hunger. No one questioned where Liam got the food. Sarah urged Liam to eat some of the fresh cucumber. He pushed it back into her hand. He assured her he had eaten while he was out. Sarah was skeptical. Liam took a bite to prove it, then gave it to her. He told everyone to eat quietly. He warned them not to save any food for later. It was too risky if they were discovered. He promised to get them more water. Ethan wanted to warn his son again, but Liam had already disappeared into the night. Ethan sighed, reflecting on how quickly the boy had grown. His brother Daniel agreed. He said it was hard on Liam. For several days, the routine was the same. The guards drove from dawn until dusk. For the first 2 days, the family received no food or water. On the third day, they were given 1 coarse bread roll each. Water was offered only once a day. They lived and slept in the cramped van. Later, they were allowed a brief stop at midday. Liam learned this was a standard procedure for exiles. It was meant to break their spirits. It ensured their compliance on the road. During the day, they had their single roll. At night, Liam would sneak out for more provisions. The family survived the harsh journey, but after 2 weeks, the toll was too great. Liam's cousin, Cody, died in his sleep. He never woke up the next morning. His parents, Daniel and Rebecca, were inconsolable. Cody was the eldest grandson. He was half a year older than Liam. He had been a brilliant student. If not for their family's fall, he had a bright future. The lead guard took Cody's body from his parents' arms. He ordered 2 other guards to dig a hole. The family cried out as the body was placed in a shallow grave. Then they continued their journey. Rebecca was broken. She stared blankly into space. Several days later, the air grew colder. A towering mountain peak appeared in the distance. Ethan looked at the distant mountain. He explained that beyond that mountain was their new home. They would be leaving civilization behind. Liam asked what kind of place it was. Ethan described the vastness of their country. He explained their new home was a wild, untamed land. That mountain was the gateway to their exile. Another 10 days passed. They were deep within the mountain range. Everywhere Liam looked, he saw mountains. Ethan told him they were approaching Sorrow Creek County. The Howards were now indentured to the military. They would farm land for the army. In peacetime, they were farmers. In wartime, they would become soldiers. Their final destination was Sorrow Creek County. The county seat was primitive compared to the capital. A single cobblestone street ran through the town center. The van stopped at the county courthouse. The lead guard went inside to report. Soon, a clerk named Mr. Davies came out. He registered the Howard family in a ledger. He signed the papers presented by the guard. The transfer of custody was complete. The family was left waiting in front of the courthouse. People passed by without a second glance. They were accustomed to seeing new exiles arrive. Mr. Davies reported to the county judge. Judge Miller was a round man with a friendly face, but his small eyes were sharp and calculating. He was not only the judge but also the military commander. He was the absolute authority in this remote place. But even petty tyrants have their bad days. He was furious about the new arrivals. He looked at the official documents and erupted in anger. He cursed the person who sent this problem to him. He knew it was the politicians in the state capital. He blamed a political rival named Patterson. He swore vengeance against him. Judge Miller paced his office in a rage. The room looked like it had been hit by a tornado. Mr. Davies stood trembling, sweating profusely. He cautiously suggested the Howards were no longer a threat. A teacup flew past his head. The judge yelled that he knew nothing. He explained that only one branch of the family was disgraced. The entire Howard clan was still powerful. Arthur Howard's in-laws were influential. Ethan Howard's wife's family was also powerful. Arthur's own brother was a high-ranking official. The judge called his clerk a fool and dismissed him. The great political families had deep roots. Their intricate connections were beyond a simple clerk's understanding. Even though one Howard had fallen, others would protect the family. A small county judge was like an ant to them. Retaliation would be swift and easy, but Judge Miller could not treat the family well either. The new president was unpredictable and ruthless. What if he checked on the Howards' condition? He would not approve of them living comfortably in exile. Judge Miller did not have 9 lives to spare. He paced back and forth, vexed. Finally, he made a decision. He would place them in a more prosperous village. He would offer some discreet assistance. This way, he would not offend either side. The judge assigned them 10 acres of cultivated land. This spared them the hard work of clearing it. He also gave them 2 thatched huts and some grain. The family waited all day at the courthouse. After noon, a soldier brought them some food. In the afternoon, Mr. Davies returned. He ordered their shackles to be removed. He told them they were now military tenants. Their household was registered in Hollow Ridge Village. He gave them their registration papers. He told them to find the village leader for their land. A soldier brought 3 covered donkey carts for them. Ethan bowed towards the courthouse. He expressed his family's gratitude to the judge. The carts were stocked with dried rations and clothes. Sarah immediately put a warm coat on Liam. The whole family felt a sense of relief. Ethan was the last to board the cart. The carts began their slow journey into the mountains. Hollow Ridge was nestled in a mountain valley. It was once home to only a few hunting families. Later, military tenants were moved there to farm the land. It had grown into a village of over 100 families. A local official, a centurion, managed the tenants. The village was already at full capacity. New arrivals were usually sent to a harsher area. They would have to clear new land on steeper slopes. The arrival of the Howard family was a major event. It became the main topic of village gossip. The carts took them to the centurion's house. Centurion Chun was a tall, thin man. He had an arrogant demeanor. The soldier who brought them whispered the judge's instructions. Chun was surprised but quickly masked it. He maintained his haughty attitude. He told them he understood the situation. 10 acres west of the village were assigned to them. He said there were empty huts they could use. He waved them away dismissively. Ethan wanted to ask for more details. He decided against it and politely left. He led his family into the village. His brother Daniel grumbled about Chen's arrogance. Ethan quickly silenced him. He reminded Daniel that they were now tenants. They had to be cautious in their new life. In this small village, the centurion was the law. Daniel accepted his brother's point. Ethan patted his shoulder. He urged them to find the huts quickly for their mother's sake. The brothers expected a long search, but Liam had already asked a villager for directions. A friendly villager offered to guide them. The problem was solved easily. The huts were at the edge of the village. A bamboo fence enclosed a small yard. Inside were 2 dilapidated thatched shacks. The mud walls were crumbling. The thatched roofs had holes. They needed significant repairs to be habitable. The old grandmother saw the shacks and broke down. She was the daughter of a nobleman. She had never seen such poverty, let alone lived in it. Her weeping started a chain reaction. The 3 daughters-in-law began to cry with their children. The 3 sons looked on with despair. Liam was exasperated. He knew crying would not solve their problems. He tugged on Ethan's sleeve. He warned that night was approaching. If they didn't fix the huts, they would sleep outside. Liam's words brought the men back to reality. Ethan wiped his face. He agreed they needed to act quickly. Liam ignored the still weeping family members. He went inside one of the shacks. His 10-year-old cousin, Shinar, and 6-year-old Chur followed him. The shacks were in better condition inside. The inner mud walls were mostly intact. Only the outer walls had weathered away. The roof could be patched with fresh straw. The layout was simple. A central room was flanked by 2 smaller rooms. Liam was satisfied with the arrangement. The grandmother could have 1 room. The 3 brothers and their families could share the others. He realized there was no kitchen. He searched the yard for one. He found a separate kitchen structure behind the shacks. Inside was a built-in stove. To his surprise, there was a rusty iron pot on it. This was a valuable find for the penniless family. Liam sent the 2 small children to tell their parents. He said they had a pot to cook with. The children had not had a hot meal in a long time. They ran out, dancing with excitement. They shouted about finding the big iron pot. Their joy seemed to infect the adults. The family gathered around. Their spirits lifted. The women immediately started cleaning. Sarah remembered the grain from the judge. She suggested they could make some porridge. Maria ran to get the grain from the carts. The prospect of a hot meal cheered the grandmother. She stopped crying and looked towards the kitchen. The men began to clean the shacks. Only Rebecca, Daniel's wife, remained withdrawn. She was still grieving for her lost son. The family understood and did not ask for her help. But they faced new problems. They had no water and no fire. Liam had seen there were no buckets. There was nothing to start a fire with. The only solution was to borrow from the neighbors. He knew the ladies of the family would not do it. Liam took it upon himself to go. Outside, he found a group of curious onlookers. Their earlier commotion had attracted attention. Liam was not embarrassed. He addressed the crowd directly. He explained their situation as new arrivals. He told them about their long journey without hot food. He asked if anyone could lend them a bucket and some fire. The villagers were simple and kind. A woman laughed and said it was no big deal. Her husband was a carpenter with many buckets. She offered to give them one. Liam bowed his thanks to the kind woman. Another villager told him about a nearby stream. It was closer than the village well. The water was clean mountain spring water. Liam thanked him with another bow. Another woman offered to bring them a fire starter. She warned him about the cold mountain nights. She advised them to keep the stove lit. Liam bowed his thanks again. The villagers were amused by his polite manners. They offered him some fruits and vegetables. The large iron pot was cleaned and filled with spring water. They added grain and chopped vegetables. Soon, a fragrant aroma filled the air. The 3 brothers had repaired the roof. The women had cleaned out one of the shacks. They found some usable items inside. A few broken bowls, a spatula, some stools, and straw mats. There were not enough bowls for everyone. They ate huddled around the stove. It was a humble meal, but it was their first hot food in 3 months. A sense of survival and gratitude filled them. It took the family 3 days to make the shacks livable. They patched the roof with borrowed straw. With help from villagers, it took only 1 day. They plastered the outer walls with fresh mud. Liam and the younger children helped. The repairs were not beautiful, but they were functional. They would suffice for the coming winter. The 3 wives also finished setting up their rooms. They had no bedding, but the heated stove beds would keep them warm. On the 4th day, the brothers took Liam to see their land. The 10 acres were already planted with ripening rice. This saved the family from clearing the land themselves. The harvest was only half a month away. After paying their dues, they would have food for the winter. This was unexpected good news. That night, the 3 brothers discussed their future. Liam listened in. Ethan mentioned what a neighbor, Mrs. Gable, had told him. Winter would arrive in October. They needed to prepare for the heavy snow and freezing temperatures. Samuel, the third brother, asked how they could prepare. They were penniless. They did not even have a single blanket. Daniel worried their thin cotton clothes were not enough. The brothers were at a loss. Liam suggested using straw for insulation. He had learned from Mrs. Gable about its uses. They could stuff straw into cloth sacks to make mattresses. They could trade their grain for old cloth. They could also gather more wild vegetables from the mountain. A cotton quilt was too expensive, but old cloth was cheap. They could survive the winter if they had enough firewood. Liam's idea was quickly adopted. The three wives went with Liam to trade for cloth. Many villagers were willing to trade for grain, but the ladies did not know the right exchange rate. Liam, a skilled negotiator in his past life, took charge. He bargained for scraps of cloth, needles, thread, and kitchenware. He would grab a small handful of grain for each trade. The villagers saw his small hands and the family's plight. They did not argue. Liam managed to get a large pile of cloth for a small amount of grain. The women were skilled seamstresses. In 2 days, they had sewn mattresses for everyone. They were patchwork and ugly, but they were warm. The next morning, village women came by. They were going to the mountains to gather wild food. Mrs. Gable, who had given them the bucket, invited them along. Liam immediately jumped at the chance. He told Mrs. Gable they would go. The three brothers were already in the fields. They had learned the rice crop needed constant attention. They were weeding, catching insects, and scaring away birds. A neighbor had warned them the 10 acres were their lifeline. Only Liam and Sarah went to the mountains that day. Rebecca claimed to be ill. Maria said she had to care for the grandmother. Sarah tied her hair with a scrap of cloth. She looked much better after a few days of rest. Liam paid close attention to the path into the mountains. He watched what the women gathered. Sarah was initially reserved but soon joined their conversations. The women taught her about mountain life. Mrs. Gable was especially helpful. She showed Sarah how to identify edible plants. She pointed out a type of ground lichen. She explained it could be dried and stored for a year. She showed her edible mushrooms and wild garlic. She said they were lucky to find so many things that day. Liam and Sarah listened intently. Liam knew that eating the wrong plant could be deadly. Mrs. Gable also gave them advice about their crops. The rice they harvested was a valuable commodity. They should trade most of it for coarser grains. 1 measure of fine rice could be exchanged for 3 of coarse grain. This would ensure they had enough food for the year. Another woman suggested they plant a vegetable garden. Their small yard was perfect for it. A third woman mentioned that wild food was seasonal. Having their own vegetables would be better. Another woman talked about finding work in town after the harvest. The men could earn some money for the winter. Liam knew that manual labor paid very little. Finding work in a small town would be difficult. He also worried about his uncle's frail health. He dismissed the idea of them working as laborers. Liam interrupted the women's conversation. He asked if there were wild animals to hunt in the mountains. The women fell silent. Mrs. Gable warned him about a giant wild boar. It was the king of this mountain. The village men used to hunt here, but the boar was too dangerous. Many had been injured or killed. The hunters had all moved away. Another woman added that several village widows had lost their husbands to the boar. The centurion had even asked for help from the county. 100 men had failed to capture it. The elders believed the boar was a spirit. Mrs. Gable said it was safe to gather food at the edge of the forest, but they should never go alone. The boar patrolled its territory daily. It was known to attack and eat people. The women's stories became more and more fantastical. Sarah sternly warned Liam not to go into the mountains alone. Liam found it amusing. He knew his current body was no match for a giant boar. They returned to the village before lunch. Maria came out to help wash the vegetables. Rebecca slowly emerged from her room. Liam checked the kitchen. No lunch had been prepared. The water container was empty. He had traded for an old water jug yesterday. It was still dry. Maria and Rebecca had done nothing all morning. Liam felt a surge of anger. He wanted to shake them back to reality. He restrained himself. He told Sarah that their father and uncles must be hungry. They needed to take lunch to the fields. But the meal was not even started. Rebecca weakly claimed she was too dizzy to carry water. Maria simply said she did not know how to cook. The grandmother was napping with her youngest grandchild. Liam realized that if he and Sarah had not returned, the others would have starved. He did not want to argue with them. He took the bucket and went to the stream for water. For lunch, they had a simple vegetable soup and coarse grain rice. They had traded for a small amount of salt. It was very precious. Sarah used it sparingly. The soup was bland without any oil. The rice was hard and chewy. The grandmother and the other ladies ate with tears in their eyes. They were remembering their former lives. Liam was annoyed. He mixed his rice with wild garlic and ate quickly. He then volunteered to take lunch to the men in the fields. He wanted to explore the village on his own. Hollow Ridge was deep in the mountains. The village was built on a relatively flat area. The surrounding hillsides were terraced fields. Most of the land belonged to the military. Only a few wealthier families owned private plots. The fields were full of busy people. Men, women, and children were all working. Liam saw children as young as 4 or 5 catching insects. The Howards' 10 acres was a large plot for a single family. But it was too much for the 3 brothers to manage alone. When Liam arrived, they had only cleared 2 acres. Liam called them over to eat. Ethan said they would need the women to help in the afternoon. The fields were infested with locusts. They had to be removed quickly to save the harvest. Samuel agreed. Daniel worried that the women had never done farm work. Ethan said they had no choice. The 10 acres were their only source of survival. Their old status and pride meant nothing now. Only by surviving could they hope to rebuild. Liam approved of his father's pragmatism. Daniel asked if their family could ever recover. Ethan expressed his hope that their relatives would help them one day. He said this to motivate them, but he had his own doubts. Liam took his father's words to heart. He knew that with patience, their fortunes could change. They had to think of the future generations. After Ethan made his decision, the family complied. Sarah took a basket and followed her husband to the fields. Maria, after some persuasion from Samuel, also went. Rebecca, however, remained lost in her grief. When Daniel asked her to help, she had a complete breakdown. She cried and screamed, seeming to lose her mind. Daniel did not dare to force her. He took his 2 children to the fields instead. The locusts were a serious problem that year. If left unchecked, they would destroy the crops. While catching insects, Liam thought about their food supply. The wild vegetables they gathered would only last a few days. He and Sarah would have to go to the mountains every morning. They also needed some source of protein. Their bodies could not survive on vegetables alone. He knew the villagers, though poor, had lard and salt. The next morning, Mrs. Gable came to call Sarah. Sarah saw that Liam was also awake. She told him to stay home where it was warm. She helped him fix his hair and tidy his clothes. The family still wore the clothes given by the judge. They were not warm enough for the cold mountain mornings. Sarah looked at her son with love and sorrow. Liam felt a warmth spread through him. He took his mother's hand. He said he was not cold. He would warm up once they started walking. Liam's mother in his previous life had left when he was young. He barely remembered her face. He cherished Sarah's affection, though it felt strange at times. Only Sarah worked tirelessly without complaint. Liam knew he had to help her. Otherwise, the burden would crush her. That day, Liam did not stay with the group. He wandered off on his own to look for food. Sarah kept a close eye on him. He filled his basket quickly. Then he heard the sound of running water. The stream behind their hut was too small for fish. He had been looking for a larger stream. While Sarah was talking to another woman, Liam slipped away. He followed the sound to a small creek. The water was clear, and he could see small fish among the rocks. They were not big, but they were better than nothing. He could make a nice fish soup with them. He took off his shoes and rolled up his pants. He emptied his basket and waded into the creek. The water was icy cold, but his determination to eat meat was stronger. After some time, Sarah noticed Liam was gone. She panicked. The other women helped her search. Liam emerged from the bushes, looking pleased. Sarah was on the verge of tears. He showed her the fish and snails in his basket. Sarah cried anyway, feeling she had failed her son. Liam comforted her, unsure of what to say. That night, the family had their first taste of meat since their imprisonment. Sarah made a delicious fish soup with mushrooms and vegetables. Even the grandmother, who disliked vegetable soup, had 2 bowls. After dinner, Ethan forbade Liam from going to the creek again. He worried about the cold water and the danger of drowning. Liam was their only son. Liam promised not to go. The next day, he went again. He brought back fish and snails every day. Ethan's S were useless. Sarah could not stop him. After a few days of eating fish soup, the family's health improved. Ethan stopped trying to control him, only reminding him to be safe. The family worked hard until the harvest. The night before, Centurion Chen sent them some farming tools. He had deliberately withheld them as a show of power. The Howard brothers remained calm. The next day, the whole family went to the fields. Rebecca still stayed in her room. Sarah had to manage the household and the fieldwork. Ethan saw her struggles but said nothing. At night, Liam would hear his father comforting his mother. Centurion Chin supervised the harvest closely. The grain was threshed, dried, and stored under his watch. The process took a whole month. The harvest was good that year. The villagers were all in high spirits. They prepared to take their grain to town to trade. The Howard brothers joined them. Ethan decided to take Liam along. They set out before dawn. The 3 brothers took turns carrying the 4 baskets of rice. They had kept 1 basket of fine rice for the children and grandmother. They struggled to keep up with the other villagers. Liam carried 2 large water canteens. The load was heavy for his small body. After an hour's walk, they could see the town. The town's 3 grain stores were crowded. Liam squeezed through the crowd to get a spot. He heard a clerk shouting. The government was at war. Grain was being collected for the army. The price of grain had skyrocketed. Now, 1 measure of fine rice could only be exchanged for 2 of coarse grain. This was a devastating blow to the farmers. For families living on the edge, it meant going hungry. The 3 brothers stepped aside to discuss the situation. Samuel wondered why the new president was suddenly at war. Ethan explained the history of conflict with the neighboring country. The previous president had established a decade of peace. Daniel noted that the new president was acting rashly. Ethan suspected that merchants were exploiting war rumors to raise prices. Samuel asked what they should do. Ethan decided to go and inquire about the prices himself. Liam followed him. They pushed their way into the grain store. Ethan asked a clerk about the current prices. The clerk arrogantly recited the inflated numbers. The prices were more than double what they were last month. The crowd gasped in dismay. Ethan then asked about the selling price of their rice. The clerk quoted a price far below the buying price. It was clear the merchants were colluding. They were forcing the farmers into an unfair exchange. Ethan and Liam returned to the others with the bad news. Daniel was furious. He cursed the merchants for their greed. Samuel wondered if the county officials would intervene. Ethan explained that such blatant price gouging could not happen without the judge's approval. The family's food supply for the winter was now uncertain. They had no choice but to accept the unfair trade. That evening, the mood at dinner was somber. Ethan decided they would not touch the last basket of fine rice. They would save it for an emergency. After the harvest, the village prepared for winter. They repaired their houses, stockpiled firewood, and preserved food. The Howard brothers spent their days gathering wood. Sarah and the children gathered wild vegetables and mushrooms. Liam, restless as ever, explored the woods. One day, a snowball hit him. 3 boys his age confronted him. They taunted him about his family's exile. The tallest one, Shane, called him a deaf-mute. Liam approached them calmly. He asked who their leader was. Then he challenged them to a fight. If they won, he would be their follower. If he won, they would follow him. The stoutest boy, Butch, stepped forward. He boasted that no one in the village could beat him. Liam had been a soldier in his past life. He was used to having people under his command. He accepted the challenge. He proposed that it would be a fair fight with no tattling to parents. Butch agreed. The fight began. Liam's body was weak, but his fighting skills were superior. He used technique to overcome Butch's brute force. It was a long and difficult fight, but in the end, Butch surrendered, bruised and exhausted. Liam was also spent, but he had won. He learned their names: Butch, his cousin Dale, and Shane. He told them his family were not murderers. He warned them not to spread rumors. He arranged to meet them the next day. He checked his own injuries. They were just bruises. The next day, the 3 boys came to meet him. They were awkward, but they had not told their parents. Liam asked them where he could set traps for animals. They were excited by the idea. They led him to a thicket of thorny bushes. The giant boar avoided this area. It was a safe haven for smaller animals. Liam found several game trails. He set simple snares using vines and branches. The other boys watched, skeptical. Liam told them they would check the traps tomorrow. The next morning, the 3 boys were waiting for him. They went to the thicket. The first 2 traps were empty, but the third had caught a large pheasant. The boys were ecstatic. Liam felt a small sense of relief. He had not failed in front of his new followers. He gave the pheasant to Butch to carry. They continued checking the traps. They had caught 4 pheasants, a rabbit, and a marten. The boys were now completely in awe of him. They begged him to teach them his skills. Liam knew he had to keep some secrets to maintain his authority. He gave each of them a pheasant to take home. He told them to meet him again the next day. He also asked them to bring a knife. Butch, whose father was a blacksmith, promised to bring one. Liam made them swear to secrecy. They would tell everyone they had met an old hunter who helped them. The boys eagerly agreed. Liam returned home with his share of the hunt. His family was overjoyed. He told them the story about the old hunter. No one questioned him. He suggested they sell the rabbit and marten furs for money. Ethan agreed. He was amazed at how mature his son had become. That night, they had a feast of roasted pheasant. The next day, Liam and his followers returned to the mountain. They had only caught 1 small pheasant. A larger animal had destroyed the other traps. Liam was not surprised. He had brought Butch's knife. He was ready to build better traps. He taught the boys how to build a cage trap and a pitfall trap. He baited them with the leftover bones from their meal. He told them they would check again in 3 days. In the following days, the family worked on winterproofing their house. Then, a cold rain began to fall. The family's firewood, left outside, was soaked. They scrambled to move it indoors. The temperature dropped sharply. Winter had arrived. Liam watched his mother shiver as she cooked. His other aunts were useless, lost in their own misery. He felt a growing affection and respect for his parents. The rain continued for days. When it finally stopped, the boys came to find him. They had a new member, Pete, the son of Mrs. Gable. Liam welcomed him into their group. They went to check the traps. The rain had destroyed most of them. As they approached the pitfall trap, Liam heard a sound. It was the heavy breathing of an animal. He motioned for the others to be quiet. In the pit was a young wild boar. It was bleeding from the sharp stakes at the bottom. Liam drew his knife and charged. The boar, driven by instinct, scrambled out of the pit. Liam narrowly dodged its tusks. He wrestled with the wounded animal. His followers, frozen with fear, finally joined the fight. They beat the boar with sticks and rocks. Liam found an opening and plunged his knife into its throat. The beast fell dead. The boys collapsed, exhausted and terrified. Liam was in pain. His left arm was injured, but they had killed a wild boar. They carried their prize back to the village. The entire village came out to see. The boys recounted the tale of their hunt with great excitement. Liam was being punished by his father for his recklessness. Mrs. Gable intervened, pointing out Liam's injuries. Sarah tended to her son's wounds. The 5 families decided to share the boar. Half went to the Howards. The other half was divided among the other 4 families. They would have a feast together. A doctor was called for Liam. His injuries were not serious. That evening, the 5 families celebrated. The men drank and shared stories. Liam learned that his new friends were also from fallen families. One's grandfather was a governor. Another's was a great general. A third was from a wealthy merchant family. They were all victims of political turmoil. The feast brought the families closer. Winter set in, and the mountains were covered in snow. Liam was confined to the house for his recovery. The family expanded their shack, building a new kitchen and a room for Liam. Their neighbors helped with the construction. In return, they asked Ethan to teach their sons to read and write. Ethan, his hope rekindled, gratefully agreed. They would start a small school in the spring. That winter, Rebecca's mental state worsened. She would wander off, calling for her dead son. One snowy night, she disappeared. They found her frozen body in a field the next day. Her death cast a long shadow over the family. Daniel was broken, spending his days drinking and womanizing. Spring arrived, and with it the hard work of planting. With Daniel gone, the family struggled. Liam and Sarah had to work in the fields alongside Ethan and Samuel. It was grueling work in the cold mud. After planting, Ethan and Liam went to town. They traded their fine rice for coarse grain. They sold the furs Liam had collected. Ethan bought a second-hand textbook for the school. The school began in their main room. The boys struggled with their lessons. One day, Liam's younger brother got into a fight. He was defending their Uncle Daniel's reputation. Liam and his friends joined the brawl. They chased off the bullies from another village. That evening, a new drama unfolded at their home. A pregnant widow named Lisa came, claiming Daniel had promised to marry her. Daniel was found drunk at another widow's house. A chaotic confrontation ensued. It was revealed Daniel had also given a written promise of marriage to the other widow, Helen. The family was faced with an impossible situation. The entire village watched as the scandal played out. Lisa had a teenage son and land from her previous marriage. Helen was childless but cunning. Ethan, as the head of the family, tried to mediate. He questioned Lisa about her son and property. He pointed out the complexities of her remarrying. The matter was far from resolved. The family's reputation in their new home was in tatters.